The AMX Alt Proto is one of the new tanks within World of Tanks, or at least one of the newest tanks released. And of course, today's replay is going to showcase what this tank can do in one of the nicest matchups. Of course, he is one of 4 tier 8s on either side, followed by 5 tier 7s, I believe, and then the rest being tier 6s. Now, this man right here, Nivea Shampoo, is about to showcase how this tank can be played so well, and albeit this man's back must be absolutely crippled after playing this round of World of Tanks. He is taking one side all by himself. There are a few teammates that look like they may come over this side, however, they're probably not going to be of much of assistance, especially when Nivea Shampoo is just this good. And of course, what he's picked up on is a Cromwell who's probably pushed a little bit too far and is being found out for it. Now, the Cromwell is of course a very nice tier 6 medium tank. It can be played super well. But when you're playing against a tank that you're going to struggle to pen, then it probably isn't as good as you'd like to know. Now, there is a VK who's decided that he wants a taste of Nivea Shampoo, and I guess that's going to be a little bit of a meme in today's video, but there you go, 1,200, well, make that 1,500 damage done. Now, in this sort of scenario, you're probably crapping your pants, to be honest with you, because ultimately, when you've got like 4 tanks surrounding you, and that's only at the beginning of the game that you've just spotted, like there is definitely well, it's probably going to be a lot more coming around this corner, but from what he can tell, there is at least 5 tanks sat in front of him, and make that 6 tanks that he spotted on this flank, and with only 2 tanks in support and a couple of heavies that are deciding that apparently camping is the best way to do it over on the hills area over there, then it's not going to go very well. At least you wouldn't expect it, but Nivea Shampoo has something else to deal with. So what you're seeing here is him taking the aggression to the opponents. Now, they're probably not thinking in any sense or shape that he is going to be able to win this flank all by himself, but maybe he will, maybe he won't. I guess that's what this replay is all about. But what you can see here is when the opponents just are not paying attention to anyone really, especially the person that's pumping them in the side of their turret. Now, there's a Tiger 1, there's an SU-152, and of course the SU-152 is not a tank you want to take any hits from. And of course the VK just decides that he wants to throw himself away, so why not take his life? And of course what you can see here, the SU-152, he obviously looks like he's not a terrible player because he's just not just firing as soon as he comes around the corner, and he was pre-aiming, but it doesn't matter anyway since he only deals 300 damage here. But what you're seeing here from Nivea is he's placing rounds into all of the low health targets, or at least anyone that he can see. The lower the health, the better. Getting as many guns out of the game early on in World of Tanks is of course what you want to be doing, and that's something I always struggle with, is target priority, picking the one that is going to be like the most dangerous, yet also be the one that is capable of being taken out as quickly as possible. Therefore their gun is no longer in the game and they can't hit you, because there's nothing worse than having 5 one-shot tanks next to you rather than just 1 full health one as you go along. But you'll get my drift as we go in. Now what you're seeing is the Proto here, not a nice tank to come up against because of that auto reloader. However, when you hold down in the AMX Proto, like you're seeing here, there's really nothing that the opponents can do, because you can see he's in a very nice position and he's able to dish damage out very easily, and there's nothing that they can really do, and hence why he's been able to pick up 2,000 block damage. And every time he pokes this little corner here, you can see that the opponents are trying to go for their tracks, but by the time he's poked round, put a nice shot into them, because they basically don't have armor when they're over here, then you can basically count this up to a win. Now, with 3 tanks, you'd expect, well, if anyone actually had a brain on the enemy team, they'd be just rushing him right now, and apparently the 53 TP decides that that's exactly what he should do now. That is a good idea, but of course maybe it's a little bit too late when you've lost about 5 tanks to 1 player, but that doesn't matter at this point, because what he's aiming to do is just put rounds, keep detracking the opponents, and then hopefully take out this 53 TP. Now the 53 TP plays it kind of okay, and that is because he decides that he's not going to come around that corner first, and that is exactly how you should do, because you shouldn't shouldn't be the one that is on one hit and coming around a corner against a tank that can one-shot you. So yeah, he unfortunately makes that mistake the second time around. Now, the T-28 is a tank that is pretty annoying to come up against. However, because of the inflexibility of the T-28, trying to climb up little bits of rubble and fight over corners and stuff like that, it can be a little bit of a pain, and it was definitely a pain for this T-28 right here as he gets taken out by Nivea Shampoo. Now, you see, for the keen-eyed of you, down in the bottom bottom left-hand corner of the game, 6,897 damage done, and he's picked up 5 kills as well, and this is why I think the AMX is just outstanding. And you can see he decides to ram the Cromwell B, but in fact, because of the Cromwell B's kind of medium tank nature really, is that, to be honest with you, he's taken quite a bit of damage in return, which is not something that I was expecting. I was expecting that this tank to be particularly a little bit heavier. Maybe the Cromwell B for some reason was running spool liner. I very much doubt it, but you know, maybe. Okay, right, with 7,700 damage done, it's time for him to advance towards the remainder of the enemy opponents, because if he can push this damage higher, this may be a world record attempt for the AMX. Now, whether or not that's true, how we can actually found that claim, I don't really know, but it certainly seems like it, because not very many alt protos have been able to deal over 8,000 damage, let alone in a scenario where they were pretty much against the entire flank of one opponent. Now, I think that kind of showcases that the tank, even though in most scenarios this tank might not be one that you kind of think is going to be super strong, or maybe you just don't think that this tank is going to be able to deal as much damage as maybe it does. And I think that that's where a lot of people go wrong in World of Tanks. A lot of the time people, as long as the player that's playing the tank is good, you can make most tanks work. Now, yes, of course, that's not a brainbox idea for anyone that's about to comment. Well, of course, yeah, anyone can make a good tank work if they're the best player in the world. Yes, but what I mean is that sometimes people blame the tank for them doing bad when really maybe they shouldn't have done that silly little thing. And often you'll find that if you actually kind of say, well, every time I get taken out it's my fault, then you kind of usually get a little bit better at deciding and making decisions, learning from your mistakes, and therefore having games like you're seeing Nivea Shampoo here do. And unfortunately for the AMD 178B, he pays the ultimate price. Now, there is a Lance and C and of course the J Panther left on the enemy team. There is of course a very saucy situation. Luckily, the J Panther doesn't actually pen the alt proto here, and he actually hits somewhere lower on, or the upper hole here, as you can see the round bouncing off. And now it's time to go after the Lance and see, will the T-34-85M be able to take out this one man on a mission? I don't know, but we're about to find out. And of course, can Nivea Shampoo get there before the Lance and C gets taken out and get some more damage? Oh, that is a catastrophic error there. The Lance and C obviously pre-aiming Nivea Shampoo. Obviously doesn't like Nivea, maybe uses Garnier or something like that, but there we go. Of course, shutting down. Not particularly the nicest, but there we go. That is the end of this replay. However, with a result with 8,801 damage done, 3,600 blocked and 276 assistance, pretty much sums up the alt proto. Now then, I hope you enjoyed this replay. Of course, the fantastic Nivea Shampoo playing a outstanding round of World of Tanks. And of course, if you have any questions or queries or anything related to the alt proto, let me know in the comment section down below, and of course I'll try my best to answer them. Of course, maybe you can answer them too. If I've made any mistakes as well, let me know. And very much, if you enjoyed this replay, then check out the left hand side, which showcases the UDES 1516, which is why it's a little bit cracked. And of course, on the right hand side we have the VK7201K, the kind of king lover, which is a tank that I've definitely enjoyed looking at. An amazing replay there, so check those out if you are interested, and of course subscribe if you're not, and I hope that you'll join me in one of those. Goodbye.